Let's be honest. We're always complaining that basketball has lost its magic, that the league has become a showcase of factory-made athletes, that the talents all seem kind of generic, cut from the same mold. And then, out of nowhere, a guy comes along who reminds us why this game is so special. Stephen Curry isn't just a player. He's a walking question mark, a living enigma of flesh, bone, and elasticity. A guy who redefines everything you thought you knew about what it means to be a point guard, about what it means to dominate a game, and about what it means to be a giant, even if you're only 1.88 meters tall. This video is a deep dive, and get ready, because we're going all in into everything that makes Curry not only the greatest shooter of all time, but also a figure who transcends stats, awards, and championships. It's not just about the fact that he has 4 rings, 2 MVPs, 1 unanimous, and 11 All-Star appearances. The point is, he changed the game, literally. And the most impressive part? He did it without seeming arrogant, without forcing a narrative, and without betraying who he has always been. He did it by just being Steph, the same kid from Davidson, but now with a franchise at his feet and a legion of fans growing with every impossible shot he sinks. So the question we're trying to answer today isn't whether he's good. That ship has sailed. It's something else. Exactly where do we place Curry among the greatest of all time? Because if the criteria is impact, influence, revolution, he might be higher on that list than you think. It all started almost quietly. In 2009, the draft had other big names. Blake Griffin was a star. Tyreke Evans seemed promising. Even Johnny Flynn was picked before Curry. And the Golden State Warriors, back then, were far from a model franchise. They were still dealing with a hangover of the We Believe era with Baron Davis. Despite searching playing at a high level, they bet on Steph. A short-term, but the confidence was cautious. First came the injury problems, with fragile ankles that made many doubt if he could survive the brutal physical grind of the NBA. Some said he would never be more than an elite shooter coming off the bench, a kind of Kyle Korver, but with better marketing. But Curry wasn't interested in pleasing the analysts. He was interested in changing everything. The turnaround came slowly, first with growing confidence in his three-point shot, then with the strategic patience of a team that decided to bet on something different. The arrival of Steve Kerr as coach and the consolidation of the trio with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green turned Golden State into a tactical laboratory. And Curry, he became the main reagent. He wasn't just a deep shooter. He was the off-ball movement, the reading of screens, the rhythm, the total collapse of defenses. He was gravity on the court. And here we need to pause and breathe, because a lot of people still treat Curry like the guy who only shoots threes. And that's an insult. Seriously, it's like calling Picasso the painter of colors. Steph is the best off-ball point guard the NBA has ever seen. A master of movement, a Houdini of indirect screens. When he doesn't have the ball, that's when he's most dangerous. Because defenders don't know whether to chase him, switch, or double team. And that chaos spreads across the entire floor. He creates space not just for himself, but for others. And that has an immeasurable tactical value. In the 2022 playoffs, for example, Curry led a team without big reinforcements to the finals and won against the Boston Celtics, one of the most solid offenses of the season. He was an unstoppable force. And it wasn't just because he hit impossible shots. It was because of his calm, his leadership, the way he kept the Warriors in control even in the tensest moments. That's where he earned his first finals MVP. And if there was ever any debate about him needing to prove something, it ended right there. But Curry isn't just a player. He's also a human being. The son of Del Curry, yes, but also Seth's brother, a family man who's never been involved in scandals, who takes his kids to court, who laughs in interviews, and seems to be as good off the court as he is on it. That's what connects us. He isn't an unreachable figure. He's the guy who looks like your neighbor until the ball goes up. And that public image matters. Because in an era where athletes are megacorporations and build personas on social media, Curry has stayed authentic. He plays with joy. He celebrates with the enthusiasm of a kid who just nailed his first three-pointer at a school camp. And that charisma became his trademark. Of course, there's also the financial side. Curry isn't just a star. He's a money-making machine. The transformation of the Golden State Warriors into a billion-dollar franchise passed directly through him. The new uniforms, the arena in San Francisco, the global marketing, all revolved around number 30. The franchise jumped from one of the least valuable in the NBA to one of the richest in less than 10 years. And the fan base grew at an astronomical pace. Kids in China, Brazil, Europe, they all know who Steph is. And they want to be like him. But then the time comes when we have to face reality. Curry is already 37 years old. Time is running out. Klay Thompson has lost agility. Draymond is more unstable than ever. The bench isn't reliable anymore. The league got younger, more athletic. And although Steph remained productive, he can't carry a team alone forever. This offseason will be decisive. The Warriors front office knows they might not have 2 or 3 more years to build a competitive team around him. The moment is now. Some rumors talk about trades for a dominant big man, someone to ease a physical burden and free Curry to focus on what he does best, dismantling defenses with his mind and his shot. Others say the team should bet on the young players, Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, and make a smooth transition. But will that satisfy one of the greatest in history? That's where the discussion hits the legacy. Where do we place Curry in that legendary hierarchy? He doesn't have LeBron's physical size, Jordan's mythic aura, or Kareem's absolute numbers. But he has something none of them had. He changed the way basketball is played. Today, if a big man doesn't shoot threes, he's considered limited. If a point guard doesn't have off-ball mobility, he's outdated. A whole generation of coaches, players, and scouts changed their way of thinking about the game because of what Curry showed was possible. And that, let's face it, can't be measured in rings. LeBron James once said, "Curry is a guy you can never stop. You just hope he misses." Kevin Durant, who shared a locker room with him for 3 years, said, "Steph is the most important piece of that team, period." And even the toughest opponents, like Marcus Smart and Jimmy Butler, have acknowledged that trying to guard Curry is a defender's worst nightmare. So if the question is Curry top 10 in history? The answer is yes, no doubt. If it's, is he among the 5 who changed the game the most? Also yes. And if you want to ask, is he the greatest shooter the sport has ever seen? There's no debate. It's him. But maybe the most impressive thing is something else. He did all of that without ever stopping being human. With every smile after a three-pointer, every moment he points to the sky, every joke with his kids after a game, he reminds us all that basketball can still be simple. It can still be magical. It can still be pure. And maybe that's why Curry's story is far from over. Because as long as he's on the court, as long as that ball is in his hands, there will always be the possibility of something incredible happening. And that, my friend, is all we can ask from an idol. Now it's your turn. Has Steph Curry already secured his place among the greatest? Or is that last title still missing to close the story in style? Leave your opinion in the comments below. There are moments when a franchise needs to do more than just make surface-level adjustments or occasional trades. It needs to turn the page, close a chapter, no matter how promising it once seemed, and make room for a new cycle, a new phase, a new hope. And that's exactly the crossroads where the Golden State Warriors find themselves today, in the midst of one of the most decisive periods in their recent history. Between the weight of a glorious past, marked by 4 championships in 8 years, and the growing urgency to find a new competitive path for an aging roster that still has Stephen Curry as its beating heart, an unavoidable question arises: what to do with Jonathan Kuminga? And if you think this is just another young player asking for more minutes, another prospect who didn't pan out, I invite you to take a closer look. Because Kaminga is not just another name on a list of unpolished talent. He's raw potential, with an impressive athletic build and flashes of stardom that made fans dream, but flashes that seem to have hit a ceiling within the Warriors system. Now, with rumors heating up in the front office increasingly convinced that a separation is near, one alternative is gaining serious traction. A potential sign-in trade with the Sacramento Kings, possibly involving a lesser-known but highly intriguing name for the Warriors, point guard Keon Ellis. But does this trade actually make sense? What does it mean for both franchises? And how could it redefine the paths of the Warriors and Kings for next season, and perhaps years to come? That's exactly what we're going to break down in this video, and I invite you to follow along closely. By the end, you might see Jonathan Kuminga and Keon Ellis with a whole new perspective, far beyond the headlines or quick social media takes. Let's start from the beginning. What we already know with near certainty, Jonathan Kuminga wants out. The 21-year-old forward has made it clear, both directly and indirectly, that his ideal future no longer includes San Francisco. And it's not hard to understand why. Despite still playing at a high level, NBA represents Kuminga has shown undeniable talent. His athletic potential is eye-popping, explosive leaping ability, impressive defensive skills, and an offensive arsenal that, while still developing, shows he can carry the ball, attack the rim, and finish with authority. However, for all that talent, Kaminga has never quite established himself as an essential piece in the Warriors' complex, dynamic tactical engine. This team, built around Stephen Curry, has always thrived on a style of play that is more collective than individual, more strategic than based on raw talent. The Warriors require constant movement, quick passing, smart spacing, and split-second decision-making. Every player's role is well-defined, and the synergy between them is one of the pillars of their success. Kaminga, despite all his promise, thrives when he can isolate, create off the dribble, and attack the rim on his own, traits that don't naturally fit the Warriors' style, especially now after the departure of Klay Thompson. Klay's absence, who for years was the perfect partner to Curry beyond the arc, leaves a major hole in the roster. He wasn't just a shooter, he was a crucial part of the offensive balance, someone who drew defenders and created space. Without him, the Warriors need to rethink not just their attack, but their entire concept of spacing and offensive flow. And that makes Kaminga's fit even more difficult. He isn't the type of player who naturally creates space. He's a physical talent who shines in more individual situations. The inconsistent minutes Kaminga received in the recent playoffs are a harsh confirmation of this reality. Despite his undeniable talent, the marriage seems to have lasted longer than it should have. And the message seems clear. For everyone's benefit, it's time to move on. On the other side of the story is Keon Ellis, a name you might not have memorized yet, but probably should. At 25 years old, Ellis is a guard out of Alabama who has steadily carved out his place season by season. In the 2024-25 season, he emerged as the league's 8th best three-point shooter, posting an impressive 43.3% from beyond the arc. That's no fluke. Ellis has improved year after year, refining his game, becoming more reliable, more technical, and perhaps most importantly for the Warriors, more adaptable. Unlike Kaminga, Ellis doesn't need the ball in his hands to impact the game. He moves smartly without the ball, knows how to pick his shots, and most of all, knows how to occupy space to open up the offense. In a system like the Warriors, where every inch of floor is strategically important, Ellis represents a highly valuable piece, almost a hidden gem, and that's where the trade starts to get interesting. While Kaminga seeks space in a starring role, Ellis offers efficiency and a perfect fit. One needs freedom to grow and prove his worth. The other enhances what already exists and may even unlock new possibilities for the team. But of course, the situation isn't as simple as it may seem on the surface. The Sacramento Kings are reportedly ready to invest heavily in Kaminga, showing strong belief in the young forward's potential. There's talk of a 4-year $90 million offer, a hefty contract that makes it clear they truly want him in their rotation. But that figure, as attractive as it may be for Kaminga and the Warriors, complicates the structure of a possible sign-and trade, since the salaries exchanged must balance out financially. That's where names like Dario Saric come into play, on an expiring deal worth $5.4 million for the 2025-26 season, and young guard Devin Carter, who could also be part of the package. Even with these additions, salary matching remains a delicate task. Moreover, the Kings seem reluctant to give up both young assets at once. Ellis and Carter are important bets for franchise's future, and giving up two promising players for just one, albeit a high-potential one, isn't a simple decision for any general manager. That's why the most concrete discussions revolve around a deal centered on Kaminga and Ellis, with salary fillers and tweaks to make it financially viable and meet both teams' needs. For the Warriors, the deal makes sense not just technically but also strategically. Ellis is on a rookie contract, making him a valuable and cap-friendly asset, providing the Warriors with more flexibility for future off-season moves. And with Klay Thompson gone, the team lost a reliable shooter who also did the dirty work on the perimeter. Ellis could help fill that void, providing consistent shooting and helping maintain the pace and spacing the Warriors need to maximize Curry's impact. Now stop and think. You still got Steph Curry and Draymond Green playing at a high level, carrying the team with their experience and talent. But time is running out. Is another title still possible? Maybe. But you can't win with a roster that's disjointed, with players who don't fit the system, the philosophy, or the team's playing style. The Warriors must optimize the environment around Curry, not just with talent, but with tactical intelligence and functionality. And in that sense, Keon Ellis offers exactly what the team needs. On the flip side, Jonathan Kuminga is on a whole other level physically. His ceiling is higher, and he could explode in Sacramento, becoming a full-time starter, and perhaps even an all-star within the next 2 or 3 years. But the Warriors are no longer in wait-and-see mode. They're in controlled urgency mode. And right now, immediate fit, functionality, and understanding of the team concept might be more valuable than raw potential still under development. From the Kings' perspective, the logic is very similar, just flipped. They already have Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox locked in as team leaders. What they lack is a third young, versatile, high-potential piece who can raise the team's ceiling and share responsibilities. In this scenario, Kaminga is exactly the kind of explosive player who could thrive in Sacramento's open, vertical system that emphasizes quick transitions and less tactical rigidity. Moreover, Kaminga's aggressive and athletic style fits perfectly with Fox's up-tempo game, while also bringing more defensive strength to a team that struggled in that area at times. Even if Kaminga needs some time to adjust, the investment carries high upside, and that's what the Kings are looking for. Taking the next step and finally contending for the top of the Western Conference alongside teams like the Nuggets, Thunder, and Timberwolves. But what about Keon Ellis? Can he truly meet the Warriors' expectations and needs? The answer lies directly in the team system and philosophy. The Warriors don't need everyone to be a star. They need everyone to fit and fulfill their roles. Ellis has the ideal profile to be a connector within the team. He may not be the highlight every night, but he'll always be present, creating space, defending the perimeter with intensity, shooting consistently, and being a constant presence that helps stabilize Steve Kerr's rotations. He's the kind of player people often don't fully appreciate until he's gone. In the end, it seems inevitable that Kaminga and the Warriors will part ways. He's given all he can in San Francisco and likely needs a new stage, a new role, and new freedom to truly break out. Meanwhile, the Warriors must find a new rhythm to remain competitive. The trade might be complex from a financial and logistical standpoint, but in essence it's natural and necessary. The truth is, the relationship cooled, not due to personal or disciplinary issues. Kaminga was never a bad pick or a locker room problem. He just no longer fits the system. And when a talent doesn't align with the team's philosophy, it's time to move on. And it's best to do so before it's too late, for both sides. The big question now is, will this trade be enough to keep the Warriors competitive? Is Ellis truly the right piece to fill the void left by Klay Thompson? Are there other teams willing to offer a better package for Kaminga? And what if the Kings ask for more return? These are all valid questions. But what's no longer up for debate is that the Warriors can't and shouldn't keep Kaminga against his will and against the logic of the game. This is a situation where the best outcome for both sides is to respectfully and strategically move on. It's the kind of move that, while difficult and painful for fans and those involved, can open up new opportunities and fresh starts for everyone. Now I want to know what you think. If you were Bob Myers, the Warriors general manager, or Mike Dunleavy Jr., the president of basketball operations, would you make this trade? Would you trade Kaminga for Keon Ellis, even with financial adjustments and complexity? Do you believe Ellis is the kind of piece the roster around Steph Curry needs? Or do you think the team should invest in giving Kaminga a bigger role, even if that means changing their playing philosophy? Leave your comment down below. Let's talk out together. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Warriors' future, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. In our next videos, we'll explore hot trade rumors involving the team, potential additions like Al Horford, and discuss scenarios for a partial rebuild focused on the next generation. There's a lot of great content coming, so stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next Dubs update.